And as you know, Dave Douglas hosts a program called the Scots Angel Program. I'd like to hand over the mic to Mr. Joy to introduce you to our Scots Angel of this year.
Thank you. Let's give a hand for Mr. Johnson's big moves today, everyone. Give him a hand. Woo! I thought I was ready for today until I saw that. And then now I've somehow lost my train of thought. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. My name is Mr. Joy. I am one of the advisors for the Scots Angels Club. This is mainly for our freshmen who probably did this a little bit in middle school, but we have a club here, a little club here, that raises money for children in medical crisis. And have we got a story for you today? But before we get to that, basically what we're going to do is we adopt a child every year. We meaning we. As dysfunctional as we are one giant family. And we adopt a child, we love on this child, we have fundraisers we're going to talk about, then we give them a big giant check at the end of this, and you can change someone's life one child at a time. But before we go any further, I wasn't sure we were going to do this year. Mrs. Stiff is fighting her own battle right now, and she's got her hands full. And every day I come in, and sometimes I'm not proud of this, but I feel sorry for myself. I have a pretty demanding job. I come in and I'm like, man, I'm not feeling it. And I see Mrs. Stiff, and I'm like, you are such a wuss. She's got a big smile on her face. She's happy, she's excited, she's full of love. And I went to Mrs. Stiff not too long ago and I said, hey, I'm not sure we're going to do Scots Angels this year with all the stuff that's going on. And Mrs. Stiff looked me right in the eye and said, oh, you're doing it. That was it. Called Dornbeckers, got on the phone. 14 years ago, there was a student sitting where you are sitting. Unbeknownst to them, 14 years later, their child would be our angel. Baby Tiia. Let me tell you about Tiia. Tiia is 5 months old, but was born 2 months premature. When she was born, she had some sort of a abnormality or defect that they could not figure out what it was. She was at Dornbeckers Children's Hospital, and 10 times she coded, meaning she stopped breathing. Baby Tiia is a fighter. For 4 months, they could not figure out what was going on with Tiia until finally they realized she had something in her esophagus that was an abnormality in her esophagus. There's a big name for it. They finally figured out, and it was a miracle they figured out what it was. She had the surgery, and she is still in the intensive care unit at Dornbeckers, but the surgery was successful. The world, Tiia has big plans in this world. Never met her. She is going to impact this world in a great way. I promise you that. Just recently, another child was admitted to Dornbeckers, and they could not figure out what was wrong with this child. The nurse that diagnosed Tiia, because of her work with Tiia, went to the medical professionals and said, I think I know what it is. And instead of all that suffering for 4 months, this child was diagnosed immediately, and Tiia was the impact that is going to help that family. I'm going to introduce you to Tiia's mom. Tiia can't be here. She's 5 months old. She's still at Dornbeckers Children's Hospital. She doesn't know that there's 2,500 students in the room today that are going to help change her family's life. She's got a long road ahead of her. Make no mistake about it. Long road ahead of her. Her mother, I'm going to come over here for a second. Could you stand up? This is Ashley Mendoza. Everyone give Ashley a hand. As you can imagine, this has been really, really hard for the family. Ashley's been very honest with us. Ashley was in Mr. Reeves' class. She was in Scots Angels before it was called Scots Angels, raising money for another kid. Now you're going to have the opportunity to add value to someone else's life and in return add value to your own. See, there are simple things you can do throughout the course of your life that will seem like they're little things, but in the end they're going to add value to your life. Right? I heard somebody this morning back here, someone said, what do you want to be? Two freshmen were talking outside. What do you want to be? You know what you should be? Be kind. Be generous with your emotions. Help people when you can help people. Now, I'm not asking you to give everything you have. 17 years ago when this started, there was a stage right here. Our first child had leukemia, and I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going to work. Did the assembly. This student who several of you might know, his name was Gonzalo. Gonzalo comes up when the assembly's over. He's got tears in his eyes, and he hands the little girl 20 bucks. Now, Gonzalo, I don't know where Gonzalo got 20 bucks. He didn't have 20 bucks. I mean, he had money that day for some reason. He said, here you go. And she goes, no, I can't take it. The mom said, we can't take that. And Gonzalo said, you need this more than I do today. And here we are 17 years later, and we've turned this into a pretty good thing. And so what we're going to ask you to do, if you are willing to help baby Tiia, the miracle baby, we're going to ask you to do some stuff over the course of the next 2 months. Right? Not going to require a lot of you, but it's going to require you to think about someone else other than yourself. If Tiia does nothing else, she's taken a room full of 2,500 high school kids who are thinking about something other than themselves right now. That's amazing. To show support for the family, I'm going to ask you to do something right now. And I would like you to do this as quietly as you can. Okay? Over the course of the next 2 months, if you are willing to give and support and help and have good thoughts for this family, when I count to 3, I would like you to stand. I'd like you to stand in silence. Okay? So as quietly as you can. Right? To let this family know you're not alone. Not today. Not in Southeast Portland. Not in this gym. So when I count to 3, if you're willing to help this family in silence, I want you to stand up and we're just going to be quiet for a second. 1, 2, 3. Now, here's how we do this. Over the course of the next couple weeks, next week we're going to do photos with Santa. All that money's going towards Scots Angels. There's going to be a big raffle with great raffle prizes going towards Scots Angels. The Scots Cafe has been very giving on days where they are selling stuff to benefit Scots Angels. We're going to do it that way. And after break, we're going to have what's called the Miracle Minute. The Miracle Minute is an opportunity during advisory for you to bring your money and we're going to collect it in one day. Because the miracle that is Tiia is going to inspire us to influence, help others, and in turn add value to our own life. Now, it's not going to be easy. We're going to see this family again in a couple months, and I will tell you this, we're not going to let them down. Won't happen. Because I know something about you that you might not know. As different as we are, and trust me, every single person in this room has their own problems. We know how to rally around people that need help. Small things. So during advisory, when you start, you're going to hear, hey, in advisory next week, bring your change, bring dollars. Now here's the kicker. There is a staff member in this room, and I'm the only one that knows who they are, who has said, for every dollar that people in this gym give during the Miracle Minute, they will match it up to $5,000. So what does that mean? For every dollar you put in advisory, this staff member is going to give $1 up to $5,000. That's $2 for every person in this room. We've raised 10 grand in one day. But we can't do it by ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the power of community. People outside of Southeast Portland don't get it. They don't get it. This doesn't work other places. but it works here. It only works here because you guys have this, right? So my challenge is be kind, be compassionate, be generous with your emotions, and help each other. And together, we're going to change this family's lives forever. And in the end, baby Tiia is going to grow up, and she's going to change the world, with not even knowing that there's 2,500 kids right now standing in silence. I heard her story, and I'm like, I'm in 100%. What do I got to do? Now, the reality is the leadership kids, Link Crew kids, they're doing all the work. And then they're relying on you. We might not have much, but we got each other and we can do this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand for our this year's Scots Angels, Tiia Mendoza.